I'm Austin Prey, senior reporter here at Payments. Joining me today is Mark Hopkins, the Vice President of Strategic Relations at eComplish. Thanks for joining us today, Mark.
Good afternoon. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
it's an exciting conversation. We're here to talk about, bio e-wallets, biometric payments, bio payments, kind of, the way that as payments go digital, authentication is getting, literally more organic. And so kind of diving into that, from your perspective, what is the current state of biometric authentication for payments? How has the landscape changed today versus maybe where it was, 3, 5 years ago?
Okay. Well, unfortunately, but it's not a not a huge thing at this stage. Biometric authentication is not being done now. This is the future of payments, and payments acceptance is using your eyes, facial recognition, or fingerprints to do an authentication for making a payment. Now, the key words is for payments. There is bio authentication for other aspects of our lives when it comes to authentication. But as far as for payments, this is the future as far as using your bio to do the authentication.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that is an important distinction, between authorizing a payment versus kind of, signing into a phone or another use case. And talking about so that bio payments, it's the future. Kind of what's when you say the future, do you mean is it the future for all payments? Is it the future for kind of, large B2B payments? The future for kind of buying your cup of coffee? Where do you see kind of this on-ramp of acceptance or, embrace of this method and kind of, what does it need to get there?
Yeah. Well, the bio payments are it is the future. It's the future for all payments, but it's also an option.
Yeah.
And basically the ability to process a payment using your eyes, fingers, or facial recognition, as we stated, is huge. This is a work in progress as far as the entire build behind it, but the ability for the customer to, as you stated, go buy a cup of coffee and not have to whip out their phone or their wallet, to simply just place their fingers and scan and process a payment, is ideal. That's the main convenience and the main goal behind the bio payments. Is in essence, we currently are pretty much a cashless society. So you can think of bio payments making us a cardless, and also the need for your phone society, where everything is secured via my bio, and I do not have to have a physical card or have my phone to process a payment, to send cash to someone, B2C or peer to peer or what have you, to make a payment.
Awesome. And kind of, within this context of, biometric authentication for payments, kind of, being at the forefront of a lot of innovation within the payments landscape, kind of what's the role of what is a bio e-wallet, kind of, and what's its role in meeting some of the payment needs of these modern consumers?
Yeah, so the bio e-wallet is a consumer wallet that houses all of the consumers' cards, banking credentials, along with their personal credentials. So in essence, a bio e-wallet, it's very similar to your physical wallet, which you have your credit cards, your debit cards, your banking credentials, you have your driver's license, any type of identification or what have you is within your wallet. Now think of that. Think of that in your, as far as being secured and housed via your bio. So on the consumer end, similar to how they have their e-wallets with like PayPal, Apple Pay, and all that good stuff like that. the setup is the same, but the usage of it and the security of it is via your bio. So on the other end, on the business side of things, let's say, as far as our company goes, Accomplish, and we wish to accept, we have a billing site that we created for one of our clients, and a customer wishes to go pay their utility bill. Instead of them having to whip out a card and type in those credentials, they can basically use their Bio e-wallet, which they'll have the option to scan their fingerprint, facial recognition, or eyes or what have you, to make that payment. So that's pretty much what the Bio e-wallet is.
Awesome. And then, from kind of the end user standpoint, on a scale of 1 to 10, kind of how would you rate their readiness or, knowledge foundation around kind of the use of a tool like a Bio e-wallet? Is this something where biometrics, everyone uses their phone, is that something where kind of there's a behavioral funnel where it's just, they'll pick it up like that? Or do you think that there could be some concerns or frictions from an education standpoint?
No, I think, and especially in our current society, current world, just as you just described, we shifted from physical cards to using our phones. The shift to bio, I think, will be exactly the same, where people will, and we're a society that's all pretty much geared, or how would I say, convenience.
Yeah.
And even the small convenience of not carrying your cards with you, the small convenience of whipping out your phone to actually make your payment, being replaced by your eyes, fingerprints, or facial recognition, the adoption would, in our eyes, will be huge. And in the current state of our younger generation or what have you, that would probably be the only thing they know once this is implemented.
No, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, convenience is kind of self-fulfilling. If you're positioning something as a convenient method and then, it takes a long way for someone to figure out how to do it, that's not actually, ultimately that convenient.
Yeah. And in addition to that, the security behind it.
Yeah.
That not only, when we're speaking of fraud, which is huge in the payment industry, for the acceptance of card and ACH transactions, as we know, the fraud is very high, and the fraudsters, they move in certain ways to accommodate all when it comes to that. So if you have everything secured via your bio, it's a much lower percentage of fraud. I say much lower percentage of fraud. In addition to that, it also provides security to the company that is accepting your payment, that you're doing it via your bio, that it's not a fraudster that's actually utilizing information, because the only way they will be able to get your info is if they I guess I can say this. If they cut your finger off, take your eyes out, or remove your head. So
I think I've seen that in a few movies.
Very difficult.
Yeah. So, but maybe touching on that notion of fraud a little more, or kind of consumers or the end users' comfort with these sort of biometric methods. Is this something that could be a bottleneck or a friction? Where consumers are consumers wary of their their biologically identifiable information kind of being misused, or kind of what needs to be done for biometric payments to scale from a consumer comfort and just awareness of the data protection and all that good stuff that companies are doing from the standpoint of that?
Well, when you look at it like this, your phone can be stolen.
Yeah.
And then your information is compromised. Your cards can be stolen, information compromised. Your bio cannot be stolen.
Yeah.
So if someone attempts to be you, using your bio e-wallet, as I stated before, on how they would have to do that, which is the extreme. So that's why, we feel that on the consumer end, they will feel more secure having their credentials secured by their bio versus having it stored in their phone, having it, or having the physical cards, banking account credentials or what have you. So, I mean, I know it's kind of like a brief answer on that one, but that's pretty much the straightforward, truth of the matter, and that's the security.
No, it's a good point that kind of it's easy to look askance at something new and kind of on the cutting edge
Hmm.
while forgetting all the, security flaws inherent to the ways that we kind of, are doing things already. Um, but switching away from the negative and kind of moving into the positive a little bit, when it comes to bio e-wallets and biometric payment authentication, kind of what are the top benefits for merchants and businesses? Kind of how does this new payment method compare to traditional methods around, kind of the core pillars of convenience, speed, security, cost?
Yeah. Well, on the business side of things, for the companies that are accepting the payments, the fraud reduction is number one, for on our end, the businesses that actually accept the payments, because we spend thousands and billions of dollars on fraud prevention, and in the bio e-wallet will help reduce that cost, and as far as fraud wise. Number two, for their consumers, they're offering an additional convenience for them to make their payments. And one of the convenience, of course, as I stated before, is not having to whip out a card, your banking or your checking accounts, or your phone or what have you, to process a payment. So those two are the biggest ones. So fraud and convenience are the biggest two.
Awesome. And then kind of, looking ahead for things for a mechanism like a bio e-wallet to scale, kind of what do you see as necessary that, kind of what needs to happen in the marketplace? Is it an infrastructure kind of hurdle? Is it a, behavioral hurdle, which it seems like it's probably less so behavioral than it may be, infrastructure. Kind of what's the missing piece that, will drive this growth over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years?
Well, I don't see a missing piece, but it's
Yeah.
more so an educational advertising aspect that will go along, similar to, as I stated, Apple Pay, and PayPal and those things like that. As you watch those e-wallets grow, with consumers, that's the same way, the bio e-wallet will grow with consumers. The In order to initiate the bio e-wallet, it's on the consumer's end. The consumer will establish their bio e-wallet account, and then of course secure it by fingers or what have you. So that's the start of it. That's the grassroots of it. From there, on the company side or the business side, they will provide the option to accept bio e-payments, and not getting into major details, there will be an API that they would integrate on the back end and their shopping cart to accept that. So just as today, when you go to make a payment, let's say to your utility company, what have you, and you can pay by Apple Pay, PayPal, or what have you, you would see the logo and icon for bio payments or BioPay or what have you. And then you click on that, and then you would go through the process of processing your payment. So those are the 2 points, mainly being the consumer establishing their account, and so simple education on it, and advertisement wise, to the consumer to start the bio e-wallet process.
Awesome. And then kind of, if you we love to kind of end some of these conversations with a crystal ball question. If you had a crystal ball, you can see the future. Kind of, what are some of the next great innovations or payment modalities within the biometric kind of landscape that maybe that you yourself or Accomplish kind of has its sights set on and are most excited about?
Well, I guess I'd say we're excited about all of
Yeah.
it. So I don't really know much of an addition to, but it also the Bio e-wallet not only will be utilized for payments, but for peer-to-peer communication or transfer, so to speak. So let's say you and I we meet up with friends or what have you, and you want to gather my LinkedIn and or credentials or what have you, and I just basically put my fingerprint on your scan my fingerprint on your phone, and there you got it. So yeah, so that's also a caveat that it will be utilized also on a peer-to-peer basis outside of just strictly for payments.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of love that concept of just like a bio. It's I mean, it's an identity.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Kind of
Yeah,
it'll
because
be
you can we all go to conventions,
yeah.
business conventions, and things like that, and we exchange information, our credentials. So this way, you wouldn't have to whip out a business card, and you wouldn't have to write anything down. You wouldn't have to pull out your phone and say, hey, well, you can't pull out your phones because you have to scan. But yeah, that
Yeah,
way.
no, that's I see the I see a lot of potential there.
Mhm.
We still have a little bit of time here. Is there anything that you'd like to kind of speak to more or return to or highlight that we may not have given enough time to or had a chance to discuss during the conversation so far?
No, nothing else, but just the bottom line that bio e-payments, bio e-wallets, they're on the way,
Yeah.
and hopefully, the folks who are viewing this and listening in and stuff like that will accept and push forward along with us.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And it's a great note to end on. Mark, thank you so much for your time today.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for having me.